The Red Wastes have always been an underrepresented part of the Midgard campaign setting by Kobold Press, and for good reason, because it is a vast wasteland of nothingness. Or is it? Because after doing a lot of research across different books from Kobold Press, I actually bumped into a few gems for magic and adventure in the Red Wastes. Hi there fellow roleplayers and game masters, my name is Mr. Tarask and today I want to talk about the Red Wastes, an area in the Midgard campaign setting by Kobold Press that is really underrepresented because there isn't a lot written about it, and the stuff that is written about it is scattered across different small blocks of text across all of the Kobold Press books you can think of. So I kinda went on a mission to try to learn as much about the Red Wastes that I can from the books that I have by Kobold Press, which are exactly one shit ton, and kind of teach you what the Red Wastes are, kind of show you an adventure that is actually printed that plays itself in the Red Wastes, talk to you about spells, some crazy cool spells that you probably don't know yet that come from the Red Wastes, and a campaign ID I gotten by studying the Red Wastes that I'm going to introduce to my players pretty soon. Now, first things first, let's talk about three very important things. Where the Red Wastes are, what the Red Wastes are, and more importantly, maybe even why the Red Wastes are what they are. So this is the Midgard map. If you do not know what this is or what I'm doing, this is the virtual Midgard map that is free for you to go to on the internet. Link in the description below. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can find places, you can even, just gonna quickly show this, you can actually even type something in here, Red Wastes, for example. Boom. There you go. You go to the correct position. So if you want to know where a certain position is, like the old Margrave or Red Tower or whatever, you just type it in and you go there, and you can even like do a political boundaries type of thing and all of that jazz. So the Red Wastes are right here. They are in the southeast of the central part of Midgard. Also a gateway into basically the Southlands, which is this part of the Midgard campaign setting. But I want to talk about the Red Wastes really quickly. I'm not going to go super deep into the lore or whatever, but what the Red Wastes are, basically, they are a wasteland created by war. Hundreds of years of war between the Marathi Empire and Candiria. Candiria and the Marathi Empire went to war with each other, and they used very strong mages, they used dragons, they used trebuchets, they used armies, they used ghouls, they used all stuff with magic and magic fireballs and all of that stuff, and they waged war with a lot of magic, and all of the chaos that came from that war, all of the blood flowing through the rivers and all of that stuff ended up turning this area into the Red Wastes, an absolute wasteland, which is absolutely pretty crazy. And as you can see, there isn't a lot of places that are extremely, like, there aren't a lot of places of interest when you compare it to a part of Midgard like this one. This is just full of names and stuff that's going on, and the Red Wastes just don't have that. But it doesn't need that, because that is why it is a wasteland, right? So a really important feature about the Red Wastes for me personally is the Red Road. You can barely read it right here. And it says Red Road. This is a ley line. If you do not know what a ley line is and you want to get more information on that, I have a video on that. But basically, it is a line with magic. It flows magic. And the closer you are to certain ley lines, the easier it is to cast certain spells, or certain spells get more powerful. Or you can even learn new magic from it. Mages can use it to communicate between, for example, there is a ley line right here where a mage would be able to communicate with a mage who would be close to the red line, to the ley line right here. So that is in essence the Red Wastes. And although there's different blocks of text across different books, one book, of course, the Wastes of Chaos that I reviewed last week, in the back has a really small part about the Red Wastes. I think it is a perfect blank slate to kind of make your own wasteland, because Wastes of Chaos, the book that I reviewed last week, actually is a book where you can add a wasteland with random rolling tables and classes and races and monsters and places to go, ruined castles, all of that stuff that you can place in your own campaign setting to create your wasteland. And for me, the Rat Wastes are the perfect blank slate to do that. So if you are looking for a place to use this book with, the Rat Wastes are perfect. But they talk about, like, there's dragon skeletons that still hold like magical essence that are buried below the ground. There is hidden pathways that armies used to travel from A to B. All of that stuff is going on in the Rat Waste, but they don't really pinpoint exactly what is where, except for a few of these things. Now, I'm not gonna go into like what each of these things is. You can read up on that for yourself. If you type in the names on Google, you will find in what books they are. But I found an adventure, a hidden gem of an adventure, and I found a hidden gem of an article with new spells that you might want to learn, or you might want to present to your players with war magic, which is pretty damn cool. So let's talk about that now. Now, after doing some research on the Kobold Press website, looking for an adventure to actually play in the Rat Wastes, I only encountered one. I might be wrong, I might have just overlooked something. If I am, please tell me. There's also this Excel sheet you can download from the Kobold Press fan page on Facebook that has all of the adventures with like location and level and all of that stuff. And this is the only one that pops up for the Rat Wastes specific to that area. And it's the Dark Aerie. Now, I think it is a pretty damn cool adventure. It is one of those hidden gems. It features, for God's sake, a freaking were-owl. This is a half-elf, owl, hybrid, lycanthrope kind of creature, which is pretty damn cool. So this was released as one of the Warlock Lair booklets. If you don't know what that is, it's a bunch of booklets that Kobold Press releases over the years. Small black and white PDFs that you can buy that always take one team or one ID or one place or one NPC or one thing from the Kobold Press, from the Midgard campaign setting, and they do something with that. And this time they do an adventure in the Rat Wastes, which is actually pretty freaking cool. You can get this for like $3 or $4, and it is a lair adventure. So that said, it doesn't really read like a typical adventure in the same sense that, like, when an adventure goes like, now the players do this, now the players have to do this, and now the players do this, and now the players do this. They set up more of a situation that is going on, and it invites more of a, look at this, this ghoul, this is just really cool, Null, which is really cool. I think this artwork beats almost all of the artwork Kobold Press has, just because it's so black and white, and it has this really blackness, and it just, yeah, this is really cool, hardcore shit for me. And they set up a situation that is going on, and then a kind of sandbox approach for the players to handle with the situation, ignore that situation, take one party of the situation and make them their allies and the other ones their friends or whatever. So I'm going to keep this short. It's not a review of the adventure or anything, just pointing you towards it. Link is in the description below. It also has rock zombies. So this is a rock were-owl kind of creature. This is like the person that it is all, that the entire situation happened because of. I'm rambling here. So basically there is this person who worships a demon, and as long as they worship that demon, they become a were-owl. They become super powerful because the were-owl, one scratch from the were-owl also gives you the disease of becoming a were creature, which you don't want. So it is really dangerous, but they have to stay with that demon. They have to worship that demon. But on the other hand, somewhere else in the Rat Wastes, there is a Gnoll slaver camp, basically. So Shredskins is a clan of Gnolls who have a slaver camp, and they are in a constant battle, a constant struggle with the were-owl and his band. Sorry, her. I think it's her band of rocks and other creatures that also worship this demon lord, and she wants the Gnolls to also start worshiping the demon, but the Gnolls don't want to. So they're constantly bickering and fighting, and what this basically is, it is two lairs. It's, first of all, It's the lair of the were-all, what they're doing there, what their plans are, how they are killing humans that dare travel the rat wastes. They're attacking caravans. They're doing all kinds of stuff because they're basically a cult that worships the demon lord. So they're just doing bad shit in general, and they're using the rat wastes to kind of lay low, right? Because nobody really visits the rat wastes unless they have a reason for looking for a magic item or looking for a place or archaeology or stuff like that. And on the other hand, there is this lair that is the slavers camp, the Knoll slavers camp, and this is the sandbox approach. Both of these groups aren't really chaotic good, so to speak. So the were-all, they worship a demon and they're bad. They just do evil things. It's just objectively evil stuff. And then there are the Gnolls who act like Gnolls. According to a lot of people, also evil. They do slaving, which is evil, but they are also trying to stop the slaving. There's this thing they talk about. And they raid also caravans. They do all kinds of crazy evil stuff, but they're also fighting with each other. So what do the players do? Depending on why they are there, they might be looking for a magic item or a serum against a disease or something like that, and then they just fall into this situation between these two parties, and they might want to try to get the Gnolls on their sides to fight a big dragon or something, but then the were-all and his band of cultists, they attack the party because they are now becoming friends with the Gnolls, or it's the other way around, something like that. And I think hidden gems like this, I really like finding these because, yeah, I've never ever heard anybody talk about this. You can buy it for $3 or $4 or something from the Kobold Press website, and it is just a great little thing to bring people, to entertain people who decide to go to the rat wastes for any reason. Next up, I want to point you towards some very cool new spell, Lost Combat Spells of the Rat Wastes, which is an article in a Warlock Grimoire, and it's also in Warlock Grimoire number 2, and there is an article of it, a shorter version of it, leaving out a few of the spells on the website by Kobold Press. You can click the link in the description below, read it for yourself, or if you have the Warlock Grimoire number 2, go to page 210 if I'm not mistaken, because it is right there, and there's some really juicy stuff in there, especially for me because it spawned my idea for this new campaign where I want to give my players the ability to pick up these spells, but first they need to go to the rat waste and actually be able to pick them up, but later in this video about that. So what it is, it's basically a bunch of new spells. They're more centered around, like, war. So they come from the rat wastes, and like I said, rat wastes has been created by war. It is a wasteland with a lot of, like, old, ancient, magical energy still flowing, and these spells were all used there multiple times. So there are alchemical geysher, there's blessing of the animal lords, there's burning cyclone, there's caustic sphere, there's expeditious attack, which I really like, because it is one of those things where you have to think about when you witness an ally's successful attack, you can use a reaction to give that ally an immediate bonus attack with a -2 penalty to the attack roll. At higher levels, the target ally gains another bonus attack for each slot above the third. However, each bonus attack after the first adds a cumulative -1 to the attack roll penalty. So if you cast this as a 9th level, the other guy gets a shit ton of attacks, but the accuracy of the attacks goes down the more attacks they are able to do, which is a really cool war spell because it really suggests that it was used in war, in a wartime where people were fighting each other like mass battle, and every here and there is this mage in the middle of the battle just casting expeditions attack on their allies, like, oh, you hit, here's expeditions attack, hit another one, here's expeditions attack, hit another one, expedition, like that kind of stuff going on. And I really like, thematically, I really like how the rat wastes thematically fits this article so well. There's, for example, a burning cyclone invoking the draconic mastery of fire and the sky. A whirling cyclone of wind and flame covering a 10-foot cube erupts at a chosen point within range. Each creature in an area must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes a 5d8 for a 4th level evocation, pretty good, or half as much damage on a successful one. The creature takes the same damage when it enters the cyclone for the first time on a turn, or ancestor there. Upon casting the spell at the beginning of its turn, each creature adjacent to the 10-foot cube must make a strength saving throw. On a failed save, the high winds of the vortex pull the creature 5 feet towards the center of the cyclone. Again, it really fits that open warfare kind of stuff, where this mage casts this into a big group of archers or something like that, and they're all like trying to not get sucked into this vortex of flames that is killing each other, killing like hundreds of people. There's another spell which is in this book that they don't talk about here, which is chain counter spell, where you it's basically a higher level counter spell, but where you do a counter spell against somebody, and basically it does the same thing as counter spell. Their spell doesn't work. But then for every bonus action thereafter, you can just automatically counter spell other people who are casting spells, as long as you, as long as you maintain your concentration or something like that. You automatically can use your bonus action to counter spell people, as long as they cast spells of, I think, 3rd level or lower, which again is one of those war zone things. But I think personally, if you want to introduce these kinds of crazy spells, which are crazy, like thematically crazy, I think your players need to work for it. So let's quickly talk about my campaign ID, combining all of the stuff that I talked about in this video, because right now I feel that I have some really cool stuff. First of all, I have a few really interesting and amazing and badass spells in this book that I know my players are going to want to be able to cast. So I know they're going to be willing to travel the red wastes in order to find how to cast these spells. So all that I need to do is just give them some paper or something in a library that says that there's this hidden war magic with like spells that make you do this and spells that make you do that, and they all originate from the red wastes, and there's bound to be one spellcaster that's just gonna jump all the way on there. Now, the red waste itself, I can now perfectly fill in. I have that adventure with the Where All that has 2 really interesting locations and a little bit of a war going on between 2 parties that my players can encounter. I have the Wastes of Chaos book that will help me flesh out the red wastes even more with like weather effects, ruins, dungeons, I don't know, monsters, traveling merchants, people that just dare to be in the red waste. All of that stuff I can flesh out with the Wastes of Chaos, and the Wastes of Chaos, the red wastes have a ley line. Now, they say in the books that this ley line is pretty weak. So a lot of mages don't even bother going to this ley line because it is pretty weak in the sense that it has been used so much with like these hundreds of years of war that it's kind of almost tapped out. But that doesn't mean there aren't a few spells in there for a really strong wizard to be able to take out with the right ritual. So my idea is now just to create like this kind of sandbox adventure where my players want to go to this ley line. So they have to cross the entire red wastes in order to get to this ley line and tap into the ley line in order to get these crazy new spells like Whirlwind of freaking Fire and Chain Counter spell, and there is also like a geyser you can spawn that makes people fly into the air, stuff like that. So they have to travel the red waste in order to get to that ley line and get these new spells, which becomes this sandboxy thing, which is what a wasteland is all about. It's all about like, you don't really need to steer your players or railroad your players, like now you go to this city, now you go to this camp, now you go to this person, now you this go NPC. No, it's more like, here's a situation, deal with it the way you want. I got enough resources to fill it in for an entire lifetime of gameplay. So that's it for today about the red. These videos are never meant to give you the full details on anything, just a basic idea of an area or an idea or a concept from the Midgard campaign setting by Kobold Press. I hope you liked it, and until next video, bye bye.